Thank you so much, Angel. It's great that you're all here, and I am delighted to be with you. As you may have heard, as you're all coming into the room, I absolutely love the Philippines. I love all the Filipino people that I've met and worked with, both here and over there. I've been to Cebu, to Manila, Balisan Island, Puerto Galera, and of course the Enchanted Farm north of Manila, which is incredible. So many beautiful people in the Philippines have inspired so much of my work. And some of you may have seen this book, Do Talk to Strangers, How to Connect with Anyone, Anywhere. So you're in the room with the author of this book today. So I would love you to be talking. I'd love you to be connecting in the chat, putting in your comments and questions. And let's really make the most of this time, because I totally understand that you have probably done a record number of Zoom calls in the past 2 years. Does anyone want to guess? Put in the chat, how many Zoom calls do you think you've done? I totally understand that it's easier just to sit back and not interact sometimes. Last year, I didn't have my computer in a good position, and I ended up with like an arm issue, like a shoulder issue from typing when I was on Zooms. So I totally understand the tendency to pull back, to not engage. But we know as educators that if you are engaged in the learning, you will get so much more from it. So please connect. At least 5 meetings in a day, yes. And some of those meetings can be quite long and it can be very taxing. So I'm actually standing up today because I would rather be speaking to you from a standing up position, like we're standing in a room and we're having a conversation, maybe around a cocktail or some tropical fruit. And so we really want to be fully engaged today. So are you with me? Put like a Y or a yes in the chat if you are with me. I want to see who is with me today. Excellent, thank you. So this is the Empowered Teacher Entrepreneur Program. So you're hearing from an entrepreneur, and it was, tricky for me to call myself that for a long time, but then I realized that an entrepreneur, if you check the dictionary, is one who takes a risk. And I'm very much a risk taker and taking risks in order to create a better world. So yes, I see some yeses. Thank you so much. Okay, so today we're talking about how to become more positive, emotionally intelligent, and boost your productivity. So we're going to take about 45 minutes to zip through the class. There's lots of resources that you can take away and absorb in your own time, share it with one of your colleagues or a group, and keep cheering each other on. And I love the Q&A, so I'm just going to work towards that so we can have a lot of valuable conversation. So we're going to look at understanding yourself, strengths and weaknesses, personal SWOT, bad news versus resilience, easy techniques to reduce stress and boost productivity, and some hacks and tools and feedback. So, and I'm not going to read all the slides, all right? So if you're lying down looking at the ceiling, hoping that I will just say all of the content, I'm not. So do look at your screen from time to time. Okay, so me, I'm all about confident, authentic connection because that really creates transformation. So I have been speaking around the world for the last 15 years. I've been coaching for like 18 years and having purposeful conversations and moving forward in my own confidence journey, because I would be one of the least confident. When I walked into my coach training room in 2004, I looked around, thought I'm the least confident, I'm the least. I don't think I even thought that, actually. I just thought I was the least. I was the youngest. I was, less eloquent, less educated, less professional than all of the other people in the room. Has anyone ever felt like that? You just can see how everybody else is more impressive. So I've been on this journey myself, and quite a journey of building emotional intelligence, resilience, and taking those risks that have taken me to some pretty exciting places. So my screen is covered by my my camera there, all of your faces. Hopefully you can see the screen okay. So that's my book, Do Talk to Strangers. That's my third book in, I've written 5 books of my own and contributed to 10 or 12 other books, and then supported my clients to write books also. So there's a lot of books in there. So I've spent a lot of time thinking about words and how we can encourage and uplift others. So we're going to do a bit of that today. And my clicking has stopped. Here we go. Welcome. So we are excited to talk today. So let's connect. Again, please put comments in, like, what are you looking forward to today? What is it about for you? So I just want to introduce my friend Paola Mills. Some of you have been in classes with Paola already, and she's asked me to step in today because I have run Connect with Confidence classes at Academy of Entrepreneurs in Sydney, and also done some online sessions for her over the years. And you might have heard me say earlier that I did travel to the Philippines with Paola. My very last visit there was in 2019 with her, an Academy of Entrepreneurs. So you can find the team on all the socials. And okay, so participating on Zoom, using the chat, we would love to connect with you there, and be interacting with each other also. So today we are exploring happiness, stress, productivity, mindset, best tools, and we'll spend a little time at the end on your health and biohacking. So how can you listen to your body and move forward with healthy habits? So do you want to just comment, what was it that came up for you there that is most interesting to you? Because I would like to pay attention to what is most interesting to you as we go forward. And of course, it's only worthwhile if you take some action from today's session. So Paola and Academy of Entrepreneurs, their hashtag is Boss Your Future. So let's take charge rather than just letting life happen to us, which can feel like that's been the last couple of years, but we can always choose our response, correct? Am I going too fast for anyone? Okay, let's look at happiness. Okay, and doing what you love. So what drew you to education? What is it that inspires you about what you do? And again, because it's been a really challenging couple of years, we can lose sight of that, but it's really important that we tap back into that. What is it that we love? Is it seeing the students just light up when they have an insight, when they learn something new? Is it just knowing that you can show care and see people grow? And Angel, if I miss any comments, please feel free to interrupt if you want to add something. Okay, so we all know what it's like to have a plan, and we love seeing something just come together easily. So we're like, yay, but what's the reality? There's lots of bumps and wild adventures along the way. And success, of course, what we think it looks like. And this is often when you're looking at somebody else's journey. Have you seen somebody else and just thought, they just like got there, they just do amazing things? But we know that behind the scenes, it's really quite messy, but we keep moving forward. And so emotional intelligence is so helpful, it's essential for us to move forward. Does anyone relate to this journey? I'm excited. Oh, it's hard, and then, yeah, it's working. Oh, I messed up, so we go on that journey quite often. And if we are aware of it, then we can move forward so much more effectively. Often we have this going on behind the scenes and we're not even noticing the conversation in our head. So your brain, okay, it can be your biggest asset and your biggest enemy. Does anyone feel like maybe their brain could be their greatest enemy? Yes. Okay, so the average person has around 80,000 thoughts per day. Of those thousands of thoughts, 80% are negative, and 95% were exactly the same as, the day before. We do so much on autopilot, but we're going to become more aware of some of the thoughts that are going around in our head, and we can direct them in whatever way we choose. So stress, anyone feel like this at times? My gosh, we're too familiar with stress, aren't we? Receiving bad news. And so what do we do when you're going into a meeting and you've just discovered like someone smashed your car, or in this case, a tree has smashed your car, and you don't have time for this? That's so stressful. What do? We need to be able to, be aware of the emotion and let that go, put that to the side. Like, wow, I feel like this is going to be expensive. This is, we just let all those thoughts run. How do I feel about this? I just feel uncertain. I feel stressed. I feel angry that this has happened before I have this important meeting. But if we can notice it, then we can let it go. if we just let that chatter run in the back of our head, we're not in control of it, but we can manage that and go, you know what, the car's not going anywhere. I'm just going to park this situation until later. I'm going to go do my meeting. And so what emotions do I want to take into my meeting? I need to go in feeling, calm, composed, inspired, like, gosh, something like that happens and your inspiration is gone, correct? So we need to regain it. Now, Post-it notes are powerful. Does anyone have Post-it notes with you at the moment? You can just put a P in the chat if you've got Post-it notes there, or little notes. I've got tiny ones that I put in books sometimes if I want to highlight a note and come back to it. Okay, so emotional intelligence refers to the ability to identify, manage, and control one's own emotions, as well as the emotions of others. But I would just say on that, more identifying and supporting, managing, because we can't control anyone else's emotions. We can't control their emotional state, but we can support them to shift. But we need to know how to do that ourselves first. Yes, I see a few P's there. Awesome. I love our Post-it notes. Okay, let's take a moment for an activity, whether it's on Post-it notes or any other bit of paper, or you might, if you don't have paper, I think you've all got paper. So just write down, we're going to take 60 seconds. I'm putting the timer on. 60 seconds to write down as many feelings as you can recall over the past 24 hours. So initially you might go, oh, it was just all the same, all flat or down, but just try and, maybe you're thinking about a moment that you laughed at a child, you shared the joy in an experience or a piece of cake or anything. But there could be a lot of different experiences, a lot of different emotions over the past 24 hours. 60 seconds, go. Write down as many as you can recall. You don't need to share them with anyone, it's just for you. It's 30 seconds. How are we going? Write down a few more. What about last night? Maybe before dinner. Maybe when you were going to sleep, what were you feeling? And this morning, what kind of feelings did you wake up with? There we go, that's 60 seconds. Maybe you can write in the chat, how many did you actually list? Just count up. How many did you get written down? Okay, 3, 6, 7, 3. Okay, so now add up the total number. Yep, we've done that. And count. How many positive? Some of them, you might feel in neutral, but if you can try and just go, how many positive, how many negative? So maybe if you want to put in the chat, 2/3, if there was 2 positive, 3 negative, 1 out of 6. Yeah, very normal. Okay, great. Good to be aware. Now, I wonder, is anyone here familiar with mindset, fixed mindset and growth mindset? This is similar to what we're looking at here, the effects of negative emotions. So negative emotions, so yeah, very normal. Yeah, 3 positive, 4 negative, positive 4, negative 3. Okay, Monica's having a great day. That's awesome. Yeah, 3 to 1. Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing. And it's so important that we do normalize the human experience of emotions, because I grew up not talking about emotions. We just push it down. It's like not appropriate or not, we just didn't have the language for it. So it's so important that now that we understand what's going on in the brain and the body, that we can have words for what's going on inside. So when we're in a negative frame of mind, let's say, you're just stressed, you're just worried about, what are you going to cook for dinner? How am I going to get this project done on time? And so it's just a feeling of anxiety, stress. So what's actually happening, it's not just narrowing our thinking as we've got listed here, but it actually narrows our view. So our peripheral vision decreases when we're in a poor mental state, like a negative emotional state. So does that make sense when you think about traffic? Sometimes, I think Filipino drivers I feel like they're much happier than Aussie drivers. I was with my friend John in Manila, in Makati, and it was just hectic traffic and everyone's kind of beeping their horns and he was beeping too. And I just thought that's really interesting because in Australia, if you beep your horn, it's like angry. It's like, get out of the way. And John is like the most peaceful, calm, happy person I know. And I said to him, what are the beeps communicating? And he's like, oh, it's just like, hi, I'm here. Or like, it's just kind of greetings and just awareness of each other. And I went, that's absolutely fascinating. When we're in a positive frame of mind, our vision actually increases, our decision-making speeds up, and we are so much more creative. So you see here effects of positive emotions, more rational, creative problem solving and new ideas. So it's really important, not just for, feeling good, but for our productivity, for our relatedness with other people, if we can be in a state of positive emotions. Because otherwise, we are shrinking back, we're missing opportunities, we're just not getting things done, and we're just not relating to people as well. So, and I like the bottom one, increasing dopamine levels that are important for interest and learning. So even by, so we've got this comment here from Karen, glad to hear that it's very normal, haha. So Karen's got a boost of dopamine there, but she's also connected with other people who are going, yeah, I could have said the same thing. And so you're sharing that experience of dopamine, because right now you're sitting, at home or at the office on your own. You don't know how other people are experiencing the world. And if you can share just a little bit of joy, a little bit of insight, it deepens it for you, deepens the insight, but it also is creating a positive ripple effect. So can we do more of that? Look for opportunities to do that throughout life. And of course, here in the Zoom. So stress is a choice. What do you think about that? Sometimes we are under stress. Our body just goes, we have this stress response. And of course, it's normal. So is it a choice? It's a choice how we respond to it. And it's really important that we listen to it rather than just try and squash it down. Because if we squash it down, it's just going to keep coming up. But we notice and then we can move forward. Okay, so one thing that we can do to get our thinking back on track, we might set up alerts on our phone, and yeah, it's just about being proactive. So using the 21-90 rule, 21 days to build a habit and 90 days to build a lifestyle. Now, depending on what you're doing, there's a bit of, that can be a little subjective, but what is it that you think you would like to build a habit around? And it could be something as simple as listing the emotions of the last 24 hours each day and just noticing what's there. Because when you start paying attention to your thinking and you start paying attention to, I felt, joyful when I had that cup of tea with my, family member or my friend. Or maybe it's just that the tea, like my husband just bought me a cup of tea that is wild orange. I tell you what, this tea makes me happy. Does anyone have a drink? Coconut water is the other thing. This makes me happy. Coconut water makes me super happy. So do you want to put in the chat something that just lifts your spirits? Yeah, that tea totally does it for me. So crochet, cool. So you might notice as you're tracking your emotions for 21 days, you might start seeing that there were joy in these little moments, and you'll say, how can I bring more of that into my week? So you really can start building a lifestyle of more positivity. Who likes the sound of that? Okay, time for another quick activity. So this is one that you can take away also and do more with more time. And we've got a beautiful ebook here for you that will take you through this more. So your SWOT, your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. What's great about you? What do you get acknowledged for? You know, sometimes we need to pay attention to that. What do other people say are your strengths? Because your strengths might be a little invisible to you. You might just think, doesn't everybody do this? If you're super organized with your emails, you just think, well, that's just how you should do it. But other people in your team might be saying, that's amazing. I wish I could get on top of my emails like that. So maybe it's organization. Maybe it's just warmth and encouragement. And even as I said that, I realized I shouldn't say just. We feel like that. Warmth and encouragement is a lifeline. It's powerful. So what is it that is a strength in you that you can acknowledge yourself for? Just something that's great about you. So weaknesses, it's like, what skills do you not have that you would like to? Maybe you look at somebody else and go, oh, they're so good at public speaking, or they're so good at this or that. And you just think, that's just not me. So you can write that down, because this is not to judge you. This is just to notice. You might go, okay, public speaking is not my strength. That's something I would like to work on because I'm interested in that. But in the meantime, let's get Karen to do the presentation, or somebody else. So opportunities, what opportunities are you seeing? Some of you are back in the office, which is amazing. Maybe there's an opportunity to connect more with people in offices around you. Maybe if you are still at home, working from home and not getting opportunities to get out and connect with people, you might see LinkedIn as an opportunity. You might find a particular resource online. There is an opportunity for you to connect with. Connecting with Academy of Entrepreneurs is a great opportunity. And threats. What could be coming across your path that could inhibit some of these opportunities? So you might have been writing a few things down, and we can come back to that, but also there is more support around that in the ebook that we have for you. Okay, so let's just spend a little time looking at project management productivity, because this all comes from our emotional intelligence. We want to be aware of how we are working. So who would like to be more productive? Not just more busy. You might find yourself being less busy, more productive. Who would like that? Okay, so we want to have a clear understanding of your project scope and your goals. What is important about this? So, pro tip, yep, there you are. Thanks for chatting. Have a mental run through of what a successful project looks like to you, and then you can work backwards from there. And this is great to have a conversation with a colleague. Have a mental run through on paper, see what things look like, and you'll notice maybe in your SWOT, in your strengths and weaknesses, do you collaborate better by putting it all on paper first, then having a conversation, or do the ideas become unearthed as you're having a conversation in a positive frame of mind, of course, with another positive creative thinker? So create a project plan that works. And it really matters so much, doesn't it, if we are working with the right people. And we've got to get people with the right expertise and willingness to learn. So keeping open communication, being transparent, that is so much more important than ever, I believe. And delegate tasks accordingly. So document everything. And you know what? I'm not a great documenter. I just need someone on the team who is. And I'll tell you more about that later. So again, from that place of understanding your strengths and weaknesses, you can work with people that have complementary strengths. And milestones and metrics to measure progress. Okay, so tools. We're going to have a look at some tools, project management tools that you're comfortable with working with, or can see yourself becoming comfortable with them, because things take a bit of practice, don't they? So check in with your team, always be appreciating them. So there's the RACI matrix, and that can be really good with a lot of people working. So identifying and removing unnecessary or repetitive tasks, and automation is your best friend. Okay, being busy does not mean productivity. So who would like to be more productive, a little less busy, more time for the beach? Who was talking about the beach earlier? Okay, are you familiar with the SMART goals, SMART framework? We want to be really specific. So put in words, what is it exactly that I want to accomplish here? And what is it about that that is meaningful, that is important? Measurable. How do we work out, have we got there? What does it look like? How can we measure progress? Evaluate. And again, it might be collaborating with somebody who has that as a strength. Okay, we're going to make things achievable. I would say a stretch, but achievable. Something that kind of takes your breath away. It's a bit exciting, scary. Can we do it? But you know that if you focus, if you collaborate, you can get there. So achievable. It's like within your scope and your community's scope. Relevant, of course. If it's not relevant, people will ask you, why is this relevant? And you'll lose energy straight away. So it's got to make sense. And time bound or timely. So you want to decide, when do you want to get this done? You know, I was at Academy of Entrepreneurs in Sydney a few years ago, and I declared in front of the class and on live stream video on Facebook that I was going to write and publish my next book in less than a month's time, because I was speaking at a conference in Singapore. And then I said I would come back to Academy of Entrepreneurs in Sydney and have a launch party the week after that. That was scary. That was like only just achievable, but I did it. But having that time frame and the accountability and the joy and support of sharing that with people helped me to make it a reality. Tell you what, I did come home feeling a bit sick. Like, what have I done? But it was worth it. Good that we did that. So your team, understanding how everybody is different. You know, research has shown that no two brains are remotely alike. So this was first printed in David Rock's book in, I think it was about 2006, 2007, Your Brain at Work. So neuroscientists have seen that the more they learn about the brain, the more they realize that there is to learn. We can't just put people in little boxes. We've got to understand that no one is the same as somebody else. Even if somebody comes up similar or even the same numbers on one of these indicators, that everybody has a unique set of neural maps. Everyone sees the world differently. But these can be really useful, and there's more on this in the ebook. Learning to say no. Does that sound important to anyone? Feel free to just put a no in the chat. How's it feel to say no? Maybe it's no thank you. Maybe it's not now. But Steve Jobs said, it is only by saying no that you can concentrate on the things that are really important. Yes. You don't need to vent. You don't need to say no, no, no in the chat. I don't mind if you do. Karen's got something on the SWOT. Okay, tools. And I'm going to share with you another one that's not on here. I'll share that at the end. So does anyone want to put in the chat if you use, if we use any of these? So Asana, Basecamp. I have used the Basecamp with a Filipino team a few years ago. Trello is what we're using now. And when I mentioned before, some team members are much better at things than you. My husband is so much better at Trello than me. And so when I'm on the fly, I'm traveling, or I'm not that we've traveled much, but I have traveled a little bit in Australia just recently. And sometimes it's just a big day and I'm going from one amazing conversation to another. So I can just flick him a quick message and he will put it in Trello if there's action to take. So there's a number there. I haven't even heard of some of them that Paola's popped in there, but we want to be strategic because there are so many. Yeah, so does anyone want to pop in the chat if you've used any of these? I've used the digital whiteboard. And oops. There we go again. Okay, so it comes back to choosing what is best for you and your team. Just going to adjust my little chat again. Okay, so this is some of Paola's little hacks, little secrets. Although I am completely with her with the carrying around pen and notebook. And I do have notes on my phone, but there's nothing like pen and paper. Here we go. We've got Asana, Trello, Basecamp, and Google Tasks. Yeah, Google I'm finding is more and more helpful. Maybe it's always been helpful, but now I'm learning how to use it better. I do like a little espresso. I have memories of fabulous espressos in Century City Mall, Makati. I love this idea, taking another shower when I run out of ideas or feeling sluggish. And just a nice cool shower can give you a burst of energy. So this is really about understanding your body, your rhythm, and using it for your own advantage and taking care of it, I would say. So here's an example of Trello. So you can share things. So you've got faces up the top here. So there's the team that's working on something. So you can delegate it to somebody. You can complete it, or you can complete your part, send it to somebody else. So that's a really neat tool. But again, find what works for you. And just the Google Calendar. So you might use different colors. You might highlight different days for different focuses. So for example, we've got here operations, sales, product development, partnerships, finance and HR, everything else on Saturday. And you might color code, like purple is health, green is sales, blue is team, red is urgent. So again, what works for you? What do those colors mean to you? Blocking out time, so chunks of time for a particular task. So I need to do this when I'm writing, when I'm doing blogs, when I just need to get into a creative space and turn off all the notifications from anywhere that's going to go ping and draw my attention somewhere else. I'm sure you all relate to that. Killing two birds with one stone, kind of a tragic image there. But you know what that means. Just get a couple of things done at once. So group things, set alarms for different things. I love that you can, on the phone here, you can go in and change the word from alarm to, share something inspirational, or I've got a whole lot of different things. Some of them are like, encourage and inspire. Some of them are, go to the airport. So next time I've, got to go to the airport early, I'll go back and find the 4:30 in the morning one and turn that on. So our phones give us so many opportunities to support ourselves with tools that work for us. So you don't want to fall, you want to fly, correct? So it's about using what works for you. So Aristotle said, knowing yourself is the beginning of wisdom. And we do really need to know ourselves. And, I didn't understand this. I don't know if you understand it more once you hit 40. You can tell me if that's, if you think there's an age where we start to begin to understand the importance of knowing yourself. Listening to your body. So there we go. We can all just go to the beach for a moment here. I do believe that is the south coast of New South Wales. And I was there with my husband. That's not me in the picture. So, we still ourselves, we notice what is our body saying to us. And, I'm listening to a fascinating book at the moment about how the body releases trauma and restores goodness. That's the subtitle of the book, called In an Unspoken Voice. And it's about how your body processes trauma. And in that, the neuroscientist was saying that our brain, we know that there's a brain-gut connection. But for every one message our brain sends to our gut sends 9 messages to our brain. And how often do we listen to our gut? I know there was years where I was not paying attention to my gut, your gut instinct, your gut feeling. What is it that is going on in your body? And, maybe when you stop and rest, you start noticing there's a discomfort around something. And so do you just shut it off, or do you explore? What is that about? What can I do? How can I move forward? Who can I talk to? And maybe coming back to our pen and paper, write it out, see what's there, but listen. Is anyone else good at ignoring their body? I certainly did that, and I ended up with chronic burnout and fatigue because, and that's when I was first introduced to that phrase, listen to your body. Unbelievable. Now that I listen to my body, I don't go quite at the same pace, but I think I'm more effective. Okay, so we're going to pause for feedback and connecting. So can we get some people to come off mute, put cameras on, come and have a chat with me, and let's get into some juicy conversation. Has anyone got any questions or reflections so far? Who's going to be the brave first one? Do I need to like offer you a prize? Because I do have some pretty cool gifts I could share. I think it might be a little while before I'm actually in the Philippines taking you out for coffee, but I have digital gifts. Usually if I was in a room with you all now, I would be, you know, I would have had chocolate. I would have been throwing little chocolates to you all the way through as you were chatting in the group. But yeah, so come on, tell me who is still here, who is with us, and let's make this session exactly what you need it to be.
Here.
Hello, who's there?
Hi, Karen here.
Karen, is it?
Yes, that's
Karen,
right.
yes, I see you now, Karen. Where are you based?
I'm in Bukidnon, so it's the southern part of the Philippines.
Yeah.
It's in Mindanao.
Mindanao,
Yeah, we're like 2,000 plus above sea level, so we're in the mountains.
Oh, wow, I bet it's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. So this is an awesome topic. Thank you for sharing your the topic because it's just like a perfect timing. Sorry if my voice is like echoing. I'm alone in this
Oh, that's
office.
okay. That's okay. So what did you find most useful?
I think it's really reconnecting to your SWOT, your SWOT analysis, and for the tools, I mostly use Asana and Trello, and also Google Tasks. It's just thinking my calendar. So
Yeah.
it helps
Yeah.
to have like a dashboard of what you're gonna do today, and what are the dates you're available.
Yeah, absolutely. Because yeah, and I need the alerts. I need the calendar alerts. Although last night it had me ready half an hour early for a call with someone in the UK because I just saw the name and went, oh my gosh, that's now. But it was a half hour. I think I was just so jet lagged from my trip. But yeah, just having the, finding how those things work together also. So maybe it's in your calendar that you're going to block out some time to work through your Trello, through the projects that you've got there. Or yeah, and you're accessing things that you put in Google Drive and sharing that with people you're collaborating with. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, do you have any questions, Karen?
No, I was just actually listening in, and I stepped off for a bit, and then I saw that the host wanted me to unmute, so I just tapped unmute.
Awesome. It's always a bit hard being the first one to speak up. Yeah. So we can drill down more on particular things, but I just wanted to share the class with you and then go, okay, where do you want to go from here? So, and we have more connecting, and there's my connecting pages as well. Yeah, I run a podcast called Connect with Confidence. So for those of you who are interested in the human connection and conversations that we have, which is emotional intelligence and positive intelligence. So maybe I'll take a minute to share positive intelligence with you. So this is very new. I became a positive intelligence certified coach last year. This is by Shazad Shamin, and they developed this, at Stanford, and with athletes, Stanford athletes, Stanford faculty, teaching faculty, and a lot of students, but a lot of CEOs around the world. So 500,000 people had already taken the assessment when I first connected with Shazad in 2020. So if you want to check out positiveintelligence.com, there's some awesome resources there, but do connect with me to share that with me, because you don't need to spend, you don't need to do the program that's on the site, but we have other options as well. So that are more Philippines specific. But we find that we have a conversation in our head that is not, it's not effective, it's not supporting us, not moving us forward. So some people will describe it as, the angel on the shoulder and the devil on the shoulder, or, the inner critic, or, your inner best friend. So who are you listening to? So this is another great assessment that can help you see how you respond differently to the inner critic, if we can call it that, the inner judge, how we judge ourselves and judge others. So, the whole conversation around emotional intelligence, positive intelligence, positivity, mental fitness, and mindset, that fixed mindset, growth mindset, I can talk about that for days. So I just want to respond to the questions in the room. So how do we make this session here really valuable for you personally? So, you can send me a private message if you want to here on the chat, if you have a question that you're not sure you want to put your name to, or if you would come off mute and share with us any questions or comments that you'd like to make about the session. Who else would like to share? Angel, is there anything you'd like to share or ask?
There was a question on how would you distinguish like a healthy positivity with the toxic positivity?
That's brilliant. I've been thinking about that this week. I missed that. Was that a question that went to you?
That's some people would ask me that question, so I'm really
okay. Sorry, I was looking through the chat. I thought I missed it. Yeah, that is awesome. I had a conversation with somebody this week, and I haven't seen them for 20 years, and it was like great to catch up. And they were just talking about how everything's great. And I asked how their organization was going, because I know that it's actually, there's some really hurt people. People are often injured in their relationship with leadership in an organization. There are things that occur that might just be small hurts, but they can add up. And so this guy's telling me how, things are great and everyone's like back to normal. And I'm like, really? And so I was like, oh, that's great. But I know that it's not great behind the scenes. So I just kind of asked him a few questions. And what about this? And how do you think people are, managing this transition? And he was just all positivity. And I sat down and I thought, it's a lack of empathy. Like, he's excited that he can be back in the room with people, and he's missing the point. He's missing the fact that people have been, really struggling and jaded or disenfranchised, all of those words where people are kind of pulling back and going, I just don't know that I want to be here anymore. And how many people have left jobs in the past year or two? And it's really hard to know what the stats are, because while people put stats out there, People have left jobs because there was no work for them. People have left jobs because they, just didn't want to be working from home on those particular projects. They might have found something, more inspiring or easier to do, or they might have just taken a break. There's a whole lot going on behind the scenes. And so I think that, I'm very optimistic, but empathy is something that I've really been focused on developing. And we really don't develop empathy unless we actually feel things ourselves. So before, when I said, we can listen to our body and notice, like, oh, I feel, anxious, stressed, I'm worried about this or that, or, gosh, that really hurt. That smash to the car that we saw right at the beginning. It's like, that's traumatic. And so we can sort of feel too busy to deal with that and just like, okay, we're just got to get on with doing what we're doing. But unless we actually process it and go, how did this impact me? How did this feel? Unless we're honest about it and allow ourselves to grieve something that we've lost, then we don't give other people that space either. And that's when we step into that, toxic positivity. We're just like, it's all going to work out okay. And, and I have that tendency to be like that, or certainly when I was younger. And it was probably my survival to, to stay focused on, like, just keep moving forward, just keep moving forward. But my body is saying, pause, this is not healthy. So I think when we allow ourselves to really process things, to be honest with ourselves about our feelings, then we're not afraid of somebody else being honest about their feelings. Because Angel, Angel, if you said to me, I feel really concerned about, what we're doing today, how are we going to make it work? And if I say, don't worry, it'll be fine, that has not helped our relationship at all. Whereas if I can pause and relate to you and go, yeah, sometimes it does feel like we don't know how to move forward. Sometimes, yeah, I know what it's like to feel really uncertain. I feel that we've got a good plan and we can move forward, but I need to acknowledge, what concerns you might have. So I think empathy is really important to protect ourselves from toxic positivity, and empathy for ourselves. If somebody else is being like, toxically positive and just like, yeah, it's all going to be fine, and we feel that, like, but it's not. Don't beat yourself up for being negative. Just notice, like, okay, maybe I just need to work through this on my own, because they're not in that place to be honest about how hurtful or how harmful this actually is. Does it make sense?
Yeah, I agree. And like, how when you talk to your friends or your peers and they share something about how they feel and all that. So yeah, I think empathy is really a crucial part to it, because when they share something to you and then you go, that is just an easy problem, that's an easy fix, and then on the other hand it's not. So like I'm not sure if it's, well, how people push like being positive, like, no, you can't think negative thoughts and stuff like that. And I think that's part of the negative, the toxic positivity. It's I don't know if people know that it is toxic. Does that make sense?
Yeah, if it's not completely honest, if it's not, and so I think we need to be honest and go, wow, there's some fear going on, there's some anxiety, but I know I've been in other, fearful, anxious places, and I know, like, let it just be like a wave that washes over, and it's like, okay, sometimes you're at the beach and you might get hit by a wave and it feels enormous, but then you're suddenly standing in water this deep. It's like, it's okay. We can move forwards or backwards, but just let that wave go, and just like let that negativity wash through our body, our thinking, and just like, yeah, that's frightening, but we choose, do we dwell on that and just go, oh yeah, it's really scary, and so I'm not going to move forward, or we're going to go, that's scary, that's my brain telling me that, just be on alert because all these things could go wrong. We can notice it and we can go, okay, so these things could go wrong. What could go right? what is important to me or to other people that makes it worthwhile to move forward. And Liz Gilbert, who's written a number of books, she says, like, when she's creating something new, like a new book or a new project, and she feels really scared. Does anyone relate to that? Feeling scared when you go, oh, I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to create this podcast or this new piece of content that I want to create. People are going to judge it. And it's like, the more brave it is, the more scary it is. Like, the more exciting, the more creative, the more out there, the more we are aware someone's going to judge it and go, why would you even waste time on that? And so when that fear comes up, to notice it and say, okay, fear, thank you for like keeping me safe, because our fear, our brain wants to keep us safe. It's like, don't do that, people will judge you. And so we can go, yep, okay, I get that, and your job is to keep me safe, but you might be overreacting right now, so I want you to sit in the back seat. So she says, creativity and I are going on a road trip, and I know you're going to want to come along, fear, because that's what you do, but you're going to sit in the back seat, and you don't get to choose the music, and you don't ever touch the steering wheel. So I love that, because it's like, you are in charge. You are taking your creativity along for the ride, and you are going to go do something beautiful and difference making. And your fear is going to say, oh, don't do that, because people will just think you're weird. People will just think that you're drawing attention to yourself, or people will think whatever. That is a really big impact on us, isn't it? What will people think?
Yeah.
How will we be judged for this? So we need to go, yeah, that could happen. Let's be real about that. That could happen. What is the beautiful, purposeful, positive thing that I'm creating? Yeah. When we dwell on that, then we move forward. So whatever we're focused on is going to take us in that direction. And I think that's why we can be scared of actually looking at the fear and going, oh yeah, that's there. But we can, remember that you're in the driver's seat. You can go, yeah, fear, I get it. You sit to the side, you get in the back seat, and I'm going to start looking at, there's SMART goals. So specifically, what is important about this? How does this help people? How does this help me? How does this make things easier? What is beautiful about this? How can I make it more beautiful? And as you start thinking that, it's expanding your thinking again. It's increasing your creativity and moving you forward. But I think it's always going to be a little bit subjective. I might look at you and just go, oh my goodness, you're so positive. That's toxic positivity. Well, that's incorrect. I can't make that judgment.
Agreed. Yeah. And I love that story. I was about to say. There's thank you for that. There's a question from Peter Veer. I hope I pronounced that right. So he is asking if are constructive criticisms helpful to those self-righteous individuals?
That's such a good question. And I grappled with this question the other day at the airport, like after seeing this guy, because would he hear me? I could say, I love your positivity. I love your optimism. And I don't ever want to, have a sentence with the but in it, because as soon as I say but, it's kind of deleted everything I just said. I wanted to share that, empathy is so important. And I think I probably did not in a you're very positive, but I love your positivity, it's great to see your energy. And it is a really challenging time for people, isn't it? I think we need to be really empathetic. And and if I'm sharing how I feel like we all as leaders need to be more tuned in, more empathetic to people, he might hear that and go, yeah, you're right. Or he might just go, like people just go, yeah. And you think they didn't get it. They just didn't get it at all. So self-constructive criticism, I think because he's put the words there, self-righteous individuals, I can already see they don't want to know. If they're self-righteous, they're probably like, I've got this sorted. I know what I'm doing. I'm really good at this. So it really depends on our relationship. Can we say, Yeah, Angel, do you mind if I just share with you what I'm noticing? Some people are not, not feeling great about the transition that we're doing, or, people are struggling a little bit. How can we help them? Yeah, and just see where the conversation goes. But self-constructive criticism, constructive criticism is, it's just a very delicate situation. And, we need to ask people permission. Can I just share with you some things that I noticed? Can I share how, your enthusiasm might come across to other people who are just not seeing the vision that you see right now? So I think if it's a gentle question, gaining permission, can I share this? Can I share that, when you have all your big plans, which are like exciting and I can see how they're going to move things forward, can I share with you how that can feel sometimes when we're sitting back and haven't actually understood the whole process? Would that be okay if I shared that? And if people are, wanting to grow, if they have that growth mindset, and, we're not fixed or growth, we kind of can be across both of them, depending on the situation, depending on how gently the question was asked, depending on a whole lot of things. So we hope that somebody would say, oh gosh, yeah, what have I missed? Please tell me, bring on that constructive criticism. So yeah, fantastic.
I think that it also has something to do with like how you say it, right? I mean, you could only say so much, and whoever you're saying it to, it depends on him or her on how they're going to take it. So you could only do so much.
Yeah, so, exactly. And it comes back again to permission, which is,
exactly.
It's not just about saying like, oh, Angel, can I tell you something that's concerning me? It's about helping you shift your brain from everything else you're thinking about to this present moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I want to, give somebody some constructive criticism, then I might say, Angel, are you happy if we, take 5 minutes after the call today, so I can just share some observations with you? And you're like, oh, actually, no, I've got to go straight to another meeting. So can we do it later? Or I might say, that's okay. Can we do it later? Or, I can put some thoughts into an email, but I really would rather speak face to face. So if we can talk, later today, that would be fantastic. Yeah. So, and I love here that Rodell, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, constructive criticism with possible, feasible and appropriate solutions. Absolutely, that's beautiful, because it's so easy to say, Karen, that's not going to work. But if we put some thought into it first, because saying, Karen, that's not going to work, it's not going to help the relationship at all, is it? Nobody wants to hear that their idea is not going to work. So we need to say, I've just been giving this some thought, and I wonder, can we just talk through some ideas that might support your own? So that's going to be a bit more interesting to somebody if you're bringing something that, is possibly another solution or an additional support to what they're wanting to do. Because often people want to do great things, they just might not do it in the best way. And so that's when they can burn people, and then they don't understand why people are not following, because it was a great idea. And yeah, it was a great idea, but it might not have been communicated with empathy and clarity. Beautiful. Okay, keep the questions or comments or conversations coming. So how much time do we have, Angel? I don't want to keep people on unnecessarily, but I'm happy to, stay on for more chats.
Actually, the Zoom meeting is up to, we still have 28 minutes left. Finish the 28 minutes, but yeah,
because the second half is supposed to be Q&A.
Yes, the Q&A. Any other questions? It would be awesome for you to ask. This is a great opportunity for you to get your thoughts out there, for Kerrie to answer. It's not all the time that we get to have her here. So yeah, take advantage of this session. Yeah.
So anything that came up, or
there's a question. Okay. Actually, there's
yes.
There's a thought.
To
Actually, it's
understand.
an additional information with the question. So I think it's this is I think one of the habits of seven, I mean, effective leader or effective people that we need to seek. Oh, we need to seek to understand, to be understood. So it's good to have constructive criticism, but I think we need to understand first the person or do empathy. So
Absolutely.
because yeah, because it
Yeah.
might be we have we are the one having a problem, or the other person around. So it's not always, since I mean it's not always if somehow no we observe that it's somehow the person or the that we see it's is a, I mean, a perfectionist or a boastful ones, of somehow a boastful person. So I think we need to understand the person first before we have some constructive criticism.
Absolutely. Do you have an example of that you can share?
I think it's it's more on because there are really no person in example in the workplace, you know, that somehow that irritates you somehow. That's, I think that's the right the term, or irritates you or somehow annoys you. But later on, if you're going to try to talk to the person and try to check, no, in terms of why he or she behaves in this way, then later, you will realize that maybe the person has, I mean, in terms of upbringing in their, I mean, in their environment or in their home, or maybe they have a problem in their home, so that's why he or she behaves this way. Then it somehow increase your, I mean, viewpoint on that person, and maybe understand, the person, instead of being annoyed, to the person. Yeah, I think.
Absolutely. And sometimes we don't have the opportunity to to build that understanding. If we can get to know the person, if we can say, can you help me understand your concerns about this project? Could you help me understand what your ideas, or what inspired this idea? I'd love to know some backstory. So sometimes we have those opportunities, and that is awesome. So I really love that you've raised this, and I think in those express moments when somebody upsets you and there might not be the opportunity to unpack it. Let's say somebody cuts you off in traffic and you can get angry, and then the understanding, we don't understand, like, why did they just do that? Why? And I know traffic's very different there to here, but but if we just understand the fact that we don't know what other people are going through, just understanding that is really helpful. If we understand that everyone is facing different challenges, it gives us more empathy for people. But really, we need to build empathy for ourselves, because if we are really hard on ourselves, we can be really hard on other people. So, if you are just less motivated than usual, rather than just driving yourself and pushing yourself and going like, I should just be getting more done this week. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with me? Why am I doing this? To just give ourselves some grace. And, think, if I was talking to my 5-year-old self, would I be so harsh? So be kind. When you be kind to yourself, you can be more kind to other people. You can understand that, everyone has that, small child within them, that's like so sweet and innocent and gorgeous, and they're just doing the best they can. And we can just look at people with love more, knowing that they are doing the best they can. I think that understanding as well can really help, because most of the time people really are doing the best they can, but they have so many setbacks, so many things that have inhibited them from connecting in the way that you might want them to. Yeah, so I really appreciate you raising that. And if you were thinking something through with someone, I would also, want to dig into helping them understand more about their idea. Because as a coach, I don't need to understand your whole big idea. Like if you bring this, big financial IT thing and you go, I've got this project and I want to work on this, then I don't need to understand how it all works. I need to ask you questions to help you understand more fully. What are any missing pieces? Who do you need to talk to? What's it going to mean for people when you create this? What is it going to mean for you? And as I just ask you those questions to help you understand your ideas and your thinking better, you step into that, more creative space and have more understanding of your own inner world, which is exciting too. Okay, great question here. Also, what is the best way to get yourself back on track after a setback? What are your personal tips to building self-efficacy? I love that question. Thank you. So for me, I've learned to just pause, just breathe, because we want to just react quickly, especially if people are looking at us. And if they are, we need to be able to say, can you just give me a minute? I just need to get a glass of water, like something to just give yourself a little separation from the moment. Just like, I'll come back to you just a moment. In doing that, I can just take a breath. I can shift. I might decide that my focus, is to inspire and encourage. So I don't want to snap back with, a sharp retort. So just a pause. And, we think that our pause is so much longer and more uncomfortable than it occurs to other people. If you notice, maybe you'll see it on TV, maybe you'll see, in a Zoom, like you might have seen, I might have paused at times to, just gather my thoughts or to just let an idea sit. So for me, that pause, and I don't think I've really done many pauses because I'm just happy to be with you all. But if I pause, it's actually not an agonizingly long time for you. But it could be for me if I'm thinking, they're waiting for me to say something. So giving ourselves pauses is really powerful. So in the Positive Intelligence, in the app, there's a whole lot of different exercises, and it can be, physical sensations. So just shift from what's going on in your head to your body. So you might just like rub your fingertips together, and you can all do this with me now. Just feel the fingertip ridges, feel your fingerprints. And so as you take a moment just to focus on that, it's shifting your energy. Another exercise is like just, focusing on your toes. Just, wriggle your toes, push your toes into the floor, feel the different sensations. Maybe I'm now standing on my toes. So one of my clients who was doing the PQ app with me, she had a couple of encounters that made her really angry. Like, how you have a burst of anger, but before she, let loose on someone, one of them was an email situation, and she was so angry, and she was actually messaging me and a couple of other clients at the same time saying, I'm so angry. I'm taking a breath. I'm dropping down to my toes. I'm just noticing my toes. And within a couple of minutes, she said she just was able to let the anger sort of move through her, let it go. And then she could, switch to that place of empathy and respond to the email with grace and understanding that things hadn't gone to plan, and looks forward to the resolution. So the next opportunity that she had to test this was when she was at a function and something was not delivered that was meant to be delivered, and she just again felt that anger, but just again focused on her toes. And it sounds really silly, but it's just a shift of focus, because all the anger is like up here, maybe it's in your chest or in your gut, but just to switch to something else, maybe just rubbing your fingers together and slowing down, just slowing down your breathing. And then she could respond with empathy and grace. And she said it was just life-changing, because she would be angry about that situation for days. Have you ever had something that's just like kept you angry for days? So when you shift into some of these mindfulness activities and just breathe and journal, like use the post-it notes, put down. Okay, so here's a moment. Years ago, I was asked to lead a teleconference for other coaches around the world. And my session was called How Writing and Speaking Can Grow Your Coaching Practice. So all these coaches are tuning in to listen to my stories. And, as we're waiting for everyone to join the call, I just hit, refresh on my emails. So an email came in that absolutely devastated me. Someone that I had worked with closely on, business and a whole lot of other stuff, didn't talk to me about his marriage, and he left his wife, and I'd become friends with all of them. He left his wife for her best friend. And because we were going to do a business thing together and promote this person, when this person wrote to me, and it was a family member, I got this email just before I'm about to literally go on stage virtually. And so I was gutted. I was shocked. There were so many feelings. And so I just grabbed a post-it note because it's like, I'm going to be live in just a minute. So I just wrote on the post-it note, shocked, angry, disgusted, horrified, sick. I just put all the words down that I felt. And then I was like, okay, I'm putting that post-it note over there. That's for later. I might have screwed it up, put it on the floor. And now I'm choosing, grabbed another post-it note. I'm choosing, encouragement, inspiration, joy. And so then they're like, Kerrie, take it away. And so I was able to just share straight from my heart. And because I was with coaches, I also said, I just had to let go of something shocking before I stepped in here. And this is something that we need to do when we are going to be delivering a speech or, writing and getting into a clear thinking space when there's something that's there upsetting us. We need to just look at it and go, whew, that's hard. That's really, I'm going to have to grieve that, but I can't do that right now. So we're going to put that over there and manage that later. Does that help? I know that's helped me because sometimes, you need to move forward, but pushing it down, just stuffing it down and pretending it's not there, it doesn't help. So you can also, another tip that I would suggest, something that I've done is, just talk to someone that you trust. So a couple of quick instances. So going on stage and oh my gosh, there's so many more people than I expected. I might just say to somebody, can I just share this with you? You don't need to fix anything. I just want to share. I'm just feeling really nervous all of a sudden. I was feeling so happy to be here. And now if I've just been hit by a wave of nerves and I can feel it in my gut. So I'm just going to breathe that out. And I'm just going to remember that I don't have to do this. I get to do this. I'm really grateful. So I might just start talking about being grateful and just choosing to be encouraging. And then because I'm focusing on that, then it's dissipated. The other instance is when I was a new coach and I was driving downtown to meet with a client who was a bit intimidating to me. He was a bit older than me, he was male, he was experienced, he was, some kind of financial business expert. And he asked for a coaching session. So I'm going down there feeling really intimidated. So I called one of my colleagues and I said, I'm just feeling out of my depth. I'm feeling intimidated. Can you just remind me that I'm a good coach? And she's like, oh, Kerrie, she just gave me all this specific feedback about what I do well. And so I realized I don't have to be a financial expert. I'm not teaching him how to do that kind of business. I'm helping him to do his best thinking. And I'm going to show up and I'm going to listen to his ideas and I'm going to ask him questions that will come to me in the moment that will be intuitive and just what he needs. And so I was able to go into that meeting, which was just a first meeting. And he said, yeah, I want to work with you. So he signed up for the next 3 or 6 months. So yeah, sometimes we need to, phone a friend, literally, or do that with a post-it note, or just take a moment to breathe and close your eyes. Think about that beach or that coconut water or whatever it is that is your happy place. And yeah, for me, it's also waterfalls. So just take a moment and just picture yourself under the waterfall. And then remember, what is it that you want to share? What is it that you're showing up for? Beautiful. And please feel free to tell me. So, and I'm not sure if I'm going to say this correctly, idea CJ. Yeah, let me know how that goes. So yeah, I would love to connect with any of you on any of the socials, and would be very happy to share more on positive intelligence, or of course, do talk to strangers. So that's the 2014 book. That's what took me to the Philippines. And this one is the very latest, and that is How to Talk to Strangers to Decrease Anxiety, Build Confidence, and Make a Bigger Difference in the World. Because I want you to understand that your small acts of kindness, your small moments of just being mindful of people around you and smiling, it can really make a difference, and so much more than you expect. So I know Filipinos are beautiful, generous-hearted people, and it really matters. You know, when you smile, when you greet people, it can really lift someone's spirits, and you don't know how much they might need that right now. So that's the theme of that book. You make a bigger difference than you know. And you know, who remembers a teacher who has really had a positive impact in their life? In my second book, which is about entrepreneurship in regional Australia, I wrote about my school teacher. So, let's just pop in the chat the name of a teacher who's had a positive impact on you. For me, it was Mrs. Linda Cook, and she was so creative and colourful. So I love that this slide at the end, which has this colourful rainbow, that was like her clothes. And she inspired the whole class to be more creative, to be more careful with their bookwork. You know, many of the students might just do scratch notes in their book, but in her class, it was all beautifully done. We all copied her beautiful work on the board. So who was a favorite teacher? Maybe you can put in the chat, or maybe you can send them a little note and say that you thought of them today. How much would that be a blessing to a teacher? Do you get parents or students thanking you for the effort that you put in? I hope so. So I will take a moment to tell you that your efforts are appreciated, that teachers are celebrated around the world, often not in your neighborhood. I know a lot of teachers feel like that, but you make a significant difference, and to so many lives. And I was sitting on a plane going to Sydney. I live in the country, so I was flying to Sydney, and then I'm not sure where, but I said to this lady next to me, are you going to Sydney today or further on? And she said, Dubbo to Delhi. And so Dubbo is where I live. So she was flying back to Delhi. She shared with me that she was a teacher for most of her life. She'd retired, and she was teaching English in Delhi. And I said, can you imagine the impact of all your years of teaching, and how many of your students would be right around the world doing incredible things now? Her daughter was a doctor here in Dubbo, and so many of her students that learned English with her would be around the world doing incredible things. So when you think about, the whatever age group you work with, you are planting seeds of amazing things in the future. So thank you for what you do. And yeah, is there anything that anyone would like to share in wrapping up? What was most useful about today's session? Just pop it in the chat, or you can come off mute and share. We'll just take a minute to wrap up. And I want to thank everyone who's been commenting, asking questions, contributing. Anything I've missed, Angel?
You're all good. You're all good.
Cool, cool. Is anyone connecting with me on Facebook or LinkedIn? I can see somebody on LinkedIn. That's beautiful. Thank you for connecting.
Could we
yeah,
all maybe have a group photo? Maybe we could do that. Could everybody turn on their cameras for a group photo?
Yay!
Yay, there you
Is that
go.
Therese at the beach?
We should have done this group photo earlier so that everyone would have opened their cameras.
We did invite them to earlier. Yeah. Oh, is someone there in front of the global goals or other colored squares? That looks really cool. Oh, I've lost it. All the camera things are moving everywhere.
Hi, everyone.
So, Angel, do you see everybody's, do I need to take the screen share off?
Yeah, you can. Can you take it off?
Yes.
There you go. Perfect.
There we go. Ah, that's better. There you are.
Okay, let me just take it. We're in 2 pages, so just smile and I'll let you know.
Okay. Should I take the spotlight off? Or are we all the same size?
Yes, we are all in the same size.
Cool.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Next.
We don't know who's next.
2. Yeah, we don't know. 1, 2, 3. Thumbs
So
up, everyone. Can you do stuff?
All keep smiling.
1, 2, 3. And last one. 1, 2, 3. Yay! Thank you all.
It's great
you want to say a few words?
It's great to see all your smiling faces. I see some of you got masks on, so you're in offices. Yeah. Are you all in the same region in Mindanao?
No. The region.
Oh.
Caraga and also Misamis. Yeah.
Yeah. You're just shy people. You know, so many times, because I've been in the Philippines talking about do talk to strangers and you know, connect with confidence. That's one of my courses. Yeah, and the Filipinos always say, you know, we're shy, and I'm like, but you guys do karaoke. You've got more confidence than me. Who does karaoke? I want to see some hands up. That's awesome. I would maybe when I come back to the Philippines, I might be brave enough to do some karaoke. Do you know what though? I just love working over there, and I did an event with 1,000. Okay, so might be a first. Okay, so I had 1,000 people in the audience, and it was probably the biggest audience I had so far. This is in 2016, and I was speaking, and then I just started singing because I was talking about talking to strangers and connecting with people. I sang that line, you know, hey, I just met you and this is crazy, but here's my number, so call me maybe, you know, that song. So I started singing that on stage. So I had this moment of confidence, and then the whole crowd just all stood and started singing with me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, only in the Philippines. Because you know what would be happening in Australia? People would be like, what is she doing? Is she singing? Does she think she can sing? But you guys are all just like, yay, sing along with me. I love it.
There's a reason why we drink alcohol whenever there's karaoke, Kerrie.
Okay. Okay, so you just learn from that and go, I can do karaoke, so maybe I can do something else. Because you can learn from your confident moments. And you don't have to learn that you need to have alcohol, because you might not be able to do that before you go into a work meeting. But just remember that feeling of how you can do something. You can get in front of an audience and you can sing. So maybe you can do that other thing that you would like to, but you think you're not brave enough. You're braver than you think, as Winnie the Pooh said, or Christopher Robin. You're braver than you think, stronger than you seem, and I can't think of the last line. If anyone can, feel free to type it in. Cool. Well, I've loved being here with you. You're free to go. I'll stay on for a few minutes chat if anyone's less shy when there's, you know, people jumping off the call. But yeah, please feel free to connect with me, connect with Academy of Entrepreneurs, follow on the socials. Yeah, but if you do connect, like somebody just did here, I won't give you away, but send a message to say that you were on the session today. That would be awesome. Although if I get any friend requests from the Philippines today, I'll guess that it's you guys. But yeah, I'd love to hear what was most useful. So if you want to drop me a line, that would be cool. And yeah, tell the Academy of Entrepreneurs guys if you want to chat with me again. Thank you so much for joining.